You're always bruising your ego because everyone's looking at you differently. What doesn't break you will build you. Rebuild the entire rotator cuff, put it back, and that apparently is going to take about 6 to 8 months.
Welcome to Tell Me More with Monisha Mahtani, the podcast where we explore the story between the question and the transformation. This episode is sponsored by Nutrition Band, affordable meal plans, programs, and recipes designed to help you eat well and live better. Today's guest is equal parts design mind and writing spirit, an architect by profession and a polo player and commentator by passion. Riyhad Kundanmal joins me from Mumbai to talk about sport, recovery, focus, and joy, and what it really means to keep moving no matter what. Riyhad, welcome. I'm so happy you could join me today.
Thank you, Monisha. Thank you for having me here with you. This is my first podcast, actually. So if I am nervous, do forgive me, and I will do my best to keep it as simple and clean as possible.
Please excuse me too, because it's only my fourth. I wanted to start with taking us right back to the beginning. How did Mumbai life and family influences shape you whilst growing up? Because you have so many varied passions. And I just wanted to learn a little bit more about that.
So I've actually grown up in Mumbai, but when I was 18 or 19, maybe younger, I left for California. I was there for about 14, 15 years and decided to come back to Mumbai after I finished my education. I finished my internship. I started a company out there, and it was time for me to come back to Mumbai and fall in love with a lovely lady, and she brought me back. And ever since that time, Mumbai's changed and come home for me since then.
It was a good transition.
It was a good transition at that time, but in hindsight, it's got a bit rough, but it is what it is.
When did horses enter the picture, and when did riding become polo for you? Because you're also a trained architect.
So from what I can recollect, I didn't really like horses when I was a child. In fact, I had a fear for horses. I do believe when I was 2 years old, I knocked on my dad's door suddenly and I said, I want to go and ride a horse. And this was sometime late in the night. My dad thought I was nuts because every time he tried to put me on a horse before that, I was fearful. I used to shriek. I used to cry. But he took me to find a horse at 2 o'clock in the morning that evening, and he didn't find anything. And there was a horse with a Victorian carriage on it. And he requested the person who had that horse in the carriage to let me sit on the horse. The guy thought my dad was nuts. My dad said, whatever it takes, I want to put my son on a horse today. So after much reluctance, he disconnected his horse from the carriage. I sat on that horse, and there was no looking back since then. So I actually started riding when I was 6 years old.
Okay.
I got into jumping. I was a national jumper at, I think, 17 or 18. From there, I had very close friends who were playing polo and who become top attorneys and solicitors and lawyers today, counsels today. And they told me, like, listen, we're running short of people. We want you to play the game. I didn't know the rules. I didn't have a clue of the game, and I didn't think it was much of a sport at that time. But because of their insistence, I did get in the game, and there's no looking back.
So it wasn't sort of very intentional when you were that young to be riding. It's just something that evolved along the way. And it was your passion that just grew, I take it.
The passion came in later on. It was not intentional to get into polo. Absolutely not. In fact, I actually didn't really enjoy watching the game. I didn't think it was much of a spectator sport because you see these horses running around. You don't really understand what's going on. Horses on the ground, players hitting this little ball, chasing the ball. So there was no commentary at that time. You're just seeing what's happening. You're just seeing people running around. You can't understand the game. And that's where I found there was a bit of a disconnect between the audience who are watching the game and the actual sport. So I did get into the game reluctantly because of my peers who forced me to get in the game because there were a few people short on the ground, and I did get into the game. And I thank them for today because it's changed the person who I am and the outlook that I have in life.
Okay, that's amazing. You're also a very trained architect and a good one. How do space, symmetry, and structure inform the way you see the field?
Architecture has helped me in many ways to balance an equation of what you understand, how to divide the field, which way to see it. Do you divide it whether you're going to play on this side or that side, or you're going to play up front or behind? But at the end of it, when you're on the field, you forget every other dynamic, and the only thing you actually concentrate on is the game. As much as I'd like to say architecture has helped me perceive the game, it's more anticipation on the ground that you actually play because the game is such a high paced game that you actually have to be thinking in advance, and you have to anticipate the next player's movement. You're dealing with 8 horses, 8 minds, and a lot of confusion and a very fast pace. So it has to be a very quick thought on whatever you do.
So would you say that when you're playing, you're completely focused on the game and just completely involved to the point where you're not thinking about anything else and just not about winning, it's just about the game for you there and then?
So, Manisha, when you're on the ground, it's such a high-paced game that you actually you don't have time to think too much. Okay, you're actually thinking of where to put that ball, where to land the ball, where are your teammates, how to receive the ball, how to pass the ball, how to play the next game. You have this little 4-inch ball. You have 250-yard ground, and you need to get that ball as as possible and as often as possible. So your mind actually shuts down about everything else. You're concentrating on the game, on the horse, on the horses, on the other players, on the position. You're trying to hear the little sounds that some of your teammates will be saying, either take the ball, leave the ball, or maybe I'm talking to them, I've got a better opportunity, I've got a better shot, you leave the ball, you go in front, I'll pass it on to you. So your mind actually shuts down on every other front, and the only thing you're concentrating on is this little ball, which is trying to be put into the goal.
So all your senses are really heightened then. Awareness, sound, sight, everything, all your senses are increased.
I don't know if the sense have actually increased or if they've actually diminished, and the only thing you've concentrated on is little sport is the only thing you're looking at that point in time. It could be heightened, but I haven't really thought that far whether it's actually heightened or it's completely diminished, and the only thing you have is this plateau, and you're looking at this horizon and nothing else. Everything else doesn't matter at that point in time.
Okay, that's interesting. So what first drew you into polo commentary and when did that start then?
When I was drawn into polo, I thought that there was a shortage and a disconnect between the players and the people and the audience. At that point in time, there were not too many people who used to come and watch the sport, and the few that did come couldn't understand the sport, including myself. I had a few mentors who were commentating at that time, and I really enjoyed what they were doing. But they were also players, so they used to commentate for maybe 2 or 3 minutes and then get on their horses and go and play. And that the time between the time that they stopped commentating and the time they were playing, there was always a void and disconnect. I reluctantly took the mic very shyly one day, and I thought, I'll try this and I'll just give it a shot. And I did, and I started enjoying it. And I got a lot of positive feedback from the audience. Hey, we enjoyed it. We understood what you said. Could you do this a little more? Could you say this a little more? Could you explain the rules a little more? Could you tell us about the teams anymore? Could you tell us why they're changing sides? Could you tell us this? So that gave me a lot of feedback. That gave me a lot of insight into what the audience wants to hear, what the audience wants to listen to. And it gave me impetus to think, okay, there is scope in this. There is a connect between the game and the audience through myself, and it's all in real time. So what you're seeing on the ground is unfolding in front of their eyes immediately. It's not like there's a delay. So whatever I see, I have to immediately
It's all in real time.
understand. It's all real time. So it has to be very, very quick. So you're comprehending, you're dissecting, you're deciphering, and you're saying it. So your thought process has to be as quick as the game, in fact, if not quicker, because that ball moves at about 200 miles an hour once it's hit with the horse's gallop. So your speed of thought, your command of the voice, your clarity of the voice has to be very out there for the people to understand what you're saying and to connect with the audience and to connect with the game as well.
Would you say that you're one of the first commentators in Mumbai or perhaps in the sport?
I don't think I'm one of the first because I had some peers who I learned from. So they are still playing polo. Some of them are very senior solicitors and advocates, and they're still playing polo. And I actually learned from them because they really had a command of the language. But they've got more into the sport, and now they're promoting their children as well. So they've taken a backseat in the commentary part, but I've taken the forefront in the commentary part. It's not just Mumbai. I try to do it Mumbai, Delhi, Jaipur, wherever else I can as well.
Would you say it enhanced your passion, in fact, for the sport because you're learning so much more about it?
It's not only enhanced my passion, it's enhanced my concentration as well. It's enhanced my ability to understand the game because this game is evolving so fast internationally. We follow the hurling and polo rules, and the rules can be changed on whim, or the rules can be changed over years. It all depends on the safety for the horses and the people. And if the tournament committee in Hurlingham finds that the game is not safe on whatever level, they will improvise and change the rules immediately. So everyone in the world has to understand that these are rules being followed for the safety of the animals and the players, and the rules have to be followed throughout the world, and the same rules have to be played everywhere. So if I'm playing in Argentina, if I'm playing in the UK, if I'm playing in Dubai, if I'm playing in the United States, if I'm playing in India or anywhere else, the rules are one.
Okay,
So
that's very interesting.
it has to be very systematic in that front.
Okay. So you've been very open about a serious fall a few years ago. Can you take us back to that day? What do you remember?
I've actually had quite a few falls, and not just me, every other polo player has actually had quite a few falls, and it is part of the game, it's part of the journey. We understand that this is a high risk sport, it is a full body contact sport. You're dealing with animals who have their own mindset, you're dealing with players who are hot blooded at that point in time, all trying to get the ball, all trying to win a game. Accidents are bound to happen, and we understand that's part of the journey of this game. Yes, I've had quite a few falls, broken my shoulders, broken my collarbone, broken my kneecap, broken my ribs. Recently, I was getting on some polo ponies, trying them out. I lost one of my eyes, at retina detachment. I was e-wheeling, trying to practice polo, and I had a fall because my shoulder popped out, and I fell on the e-wheel and I dislocated my shoulder and broke my collarbone.
I think that's when we spoke, and I recall you were in a lot of pain and the recovery was long, right? What did your recovery look like in terms of, mentally, physically, emotionally? How long did that take? And did it change the way you played polo after that?
Manisha, honestly, the recovery is not as bad as the ego bruise. So when you fall, you're always bruising your ego because everyone's looking at you differently. So the
Okay.
ego has to first heal before the injury heals.
Before
And
okay.
so, I mean, I think you bruise your ego a lot more than you actually bruise your body. Body will repair itself, but the ego kind of remains bruised for quite a bit of time. But that's part of the game, this one.
But was it a long recovery? And have you fully recovered now?
It wasn't that long. It was about 6 to 8 weeks, but I have not fully recovered. I still need to do one more surgery on my arm, which I do believe they're going to pull out the entire arm and go into the hip or go into the knee and take out some cartilage from there and rebuild the entire rotator cuff, put it back, and that apparently is going to take about 6 to 8 months. So that's going to be a long one, and I'm just holding back as much as possible because I'm not mentally ready to do that surgery at this point in time.
And are you still playing polo now in between all of this?
I do play polo, but I don't take a complete swing with the ball. I tap the ball and run, but I do play polo. I don't want to give up the sport because I've spent too many years getting into the sport. It's a sport I do love, and I do play the game, but not as effectively and not as competitive as I'd like to.
Okay. So I just want to talk about mindset and micro habits which you use to help you. So, like breath work, physio, core work, balance drills. What's your mindset when it comes to that?
I think warm up is the most important aspect of the game. Warm up and cooling down. If you don't warm up, you are going to get damaged because it is a very quick game. You require core efficiency. You require a lot of muscle strength. You require core strength as well, which is effective in every aspect, not just riding, the riding ability, but also the ability to hit the ball, to bend on the horse, to take an impact from another horse or a player which comes to ride you off. Strength in the arms and shoulders to swing that ball and to hit the ball, the distance and the length and the accuracy where you want. So the lot of permutations and combinations that you have to work with, but it isn't just one. Breathing is completely off when you're in the game because you're heaving for breath. So as much as you'd like to concentrate on your breath, it's physically just not possible. But I think the body has to go through a lot of training. You need a lot of endurance. You need a lot of stamina to play this game and to sustain yourself for that duration of the game. Could be 4 chakras or 6 chakras, which is 7.5 minutes each.
So, how often do you train, and what does your training schedule look like in terms of hours during the day?
So I try and train in the evenings after work if possible, or in the mornings before, but I run for about an hour, 5 days a week. That's the least I do. And that's just to keep the stamina up. I also do a lot of freehand workouts, use less of weights because I don't want to get bulky and I want to be more lean and supple and quick. And the moment you put on muscle mass, it kind of slows your movements down. So I try to be as lean as possible, which can help me be quicker on the horse and quicker with the ball, quicker with the ride, and in every way, just quicker.
Am I correct in thinking usually to be a polo player, wouldn't you have to be sort of fairly light and agile? And you're 6'3" or 6'4", aren't you? So how does that work?
Actually, being a jockey, you need to be like Nigel, but I'm not a jockey. I'm a polo player. It's just that I take a bigger horse. So once you take a bigger horse, I kind of sit well on the horse. A smaller pony, yes, it will be a bit of a disconnect between the pony and myself. Center of gravity goes a bit too high, but I just change the horse. I do take a bit bigger horse, stockier horse, and something that's more suitable to my size.
Was I incorrect in saying that, or is that generally the theory?
No, there are a lot of players who are, some of them taller than me, some professional players who like smaller horses because their ability to turn on a dime. It's all a personal preference. For me, I just prefer, I'm not a professional player. For me, polo is my passion, architecture is my profession. And I play because I enjoy the sport. I don't play to make a living off it. So for me, it has to be safety first. Not that it's a safe sport to start with at any angle, but at the same time, I do my best to keep myself as safe as possible and to make sure that I come out back on my feet after game and not on the ground.
So let's say if a young rider was listening to you, what advice would you give to them about riding? And, if they had gone through an injury, what's your gentle blueprint for coming back safely and strong?
Well, every young rider needs to understand that they need to spend as much as time in the saddle as possible. You have to spend time in the saddle. You have to get your core riding ability strong. You have to make sure that you can actually understand the horse or the horses that you sit on. You're not given one horse, you're changing 8 horses a game, and you have to understand the mentality of the animal. They don't understand you. You have to adapt yourself with their understanding. So riding is core and paramount. If your riding is inherently strong, you're already up in the game. Warming up before the game is absolutely crucial. A lot of the youngsters do not warm up. They get on the horse, they get on, they play the game, they get off, they do their thing. They don't cool down either. So I've now seen this throughout the country, throughout the world, that every youngster thinks that they're invincible at that age, which is fine. It's great to have a great attitude, but at the same time, this is a high it's a high resistance, it's an intense sport. It's a sport which requires a lot of bodily movement, and you have to make sure that you are completely warmed up and after game you're completely cooled down to make sure if you want to play the next day or in the future that you don't harm your body.
How do you warm up before a game?
Uh, you can jog, you can spot jog, you can do yoga, you can stretch, you can just move around, but you have to have movement. Your blood has to be circulated, your body has to be warm before you get on, because if you swing that mallet, which is an extension of your arm, and your arm isn't warmed up, your arm can just literally come out of the socket. It can be as simple as that. So you have to warm up in every physical way. Your neck has to warm up, your arms have to warm up, your body has to warm up, your legs have to warm up. You have to be on the horse warming up or off the horse warming up, but you have to warm up and cool down after the game. So that's imperative, and that's rule number one for all the youngsters. If you want to get into polo, you must warm up. You have to have hours in the saddle, and you must warm up and cool down after the game.
Yeah, because polo looks really dangerous and fast, right? It's like a chess match at speed. So any pre-match rituals other than just warming up? Do you do any visualization, any music, any mantras? How do you really prepare for that match?
So you have to have a very clear mindset. Polo is actually played between the ears. That's what everyone says. And that's actually true, because it is such a fast paced game that if you don't anticipate the next movement of the player or the horse or the game, you're going to be left behind. You have to be in constant talk with your teammates. You have to discuss the game strategy. You have to talk about the fact who's playing what position, who's going to hold the ball, how they're going to pass the ball, where they want you to be or where you want someone else to be. So you've got to strategize a lot before, during, and after game as well. It's not just the game gets over. The post-game discussions have to take place because you're playing as a team. And if you win, you're going to play another game or a league game subsequent to that winning. Could be the next day, could be 2 days from that time. But there is no such time as when you're going to play, but you have to talk to your teammates. You have to discuss the game. You have to strategize. You have to analyze. You have to get on the drawing board if required. You have to get on a horse and position yourself. And you have to have a mentor, a coach sitting outside to say, hey, you know what? This is what you guys are doing wrong. Because on the field, you don't understand the perspective from the third person sitting on the outside. So a coach or a high goal player from the outside will always say, okay, guys, you guys are doing this wrong. Position yourself this way. You stay back, you stay front, you pass here, you pass there. So it is chess on horseback, yes. But the only difference is it's 1,000 times faster.
Okay. On tough days, which I'm sure you can have, what keeps you grounded and grateful? Grateful that, post injury, you are still, commentating in between, because life can sort of take us in many directions, right? So what keeps you grateful that you can still play, that you can still commentate and live your life?
I think the adulation from the spectators, the camaraderie between your friends, bonding that you have with the people on the ground, the bond that you have with the animals, the horses, that is the binding force that actually takes you ahead more. I mean, when we have a connection between an animal and man, okay, that's paramount to say the least. The bond that you have with a horse, the understanding, a horse just looks at you with their gentle eyes, and you understand the horse trusts you to look after him. You're not going to harm the horse. Okay, so the horse knows that you're there. He will give you his best, but he has to be able to trust you that you know what you're doing. So when you understand that connection between the horse and the rider, connection between the horse and the rider, that is a very good connect to start with. The second is your players, your team players. They have to trust in you as well, and you have to trust in them. If I tell them leave the ball, I've got a better shot, I will make sure that I hit that ball and I don't miss the ball, because if I miss the ball, the opposing team will take the ball on the other side and score a goal. So your players and you have to have a great bond and a great trust that if you say something to them, that they will appreciate it, and if they say something to you, you will appreciate it, and you trust each other. And the spectators who now understand the game through commentary, if you're not playing, and how you connect the game to the spectators and how you tell them like this is what's happening real time. I'm going to bring it out to you. I'm going to tell you who they are. I'm going to tell you what's happening, but I want you to understand. I want you to interact with the game. If you don't understand something, you're welcome to ask. And if you understand the game, show your appreciation to the players, because these are the stars on the ground. They're putting their life and limb on the ground to play for you, and they're doing their best to make.
So you must be spending a lot of time with your team players and to be creating that bond and just, of how to communicate with one another when you are playing on the field, because, that sort of eye contact, body movement, just that understanding towards one another, that is built over time, I'm assuming.
So Monisha, polo is a game where you have seasons. So you don't have a polo being played 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days. So you have different season in India. Let me talk about India particularly.
Yeah.
So India, from April to September, there is no polo. In September, October, polo starts in Jaipur, then goes to Delhi, then comes back to Jaipur for a bit, then goes to Jodhpur, then comes to Mumbai, then goes back to Jaipur, and then goes to Delhi. So we have Mumbai as one center, we have Delhi twice, we have Jaipur twice, we have Jodhpur once. So we have different centers where people play. The teams themselves, unless you're running a professionally managed team, which I'm not, we play for fun, we play for passion. We're always playing with different players. So the other players who are also professionals in their respective fields play polo for passion. And there is no particular combination or permutation of a team member or a team. And polo, you have different handicaps. You have a different handicap game. You have a 40 goal being the highest, being played in Argentina and everywhere else in the world, where you got absolutely professional players. That's what they do for a living, morning, noon, and night. Then you got players playing in the UK and Dubai and the United States who are playing a 22 goal game, which is also high goal players playing that game. In India, we have a 14 goal game, I do believe, which is the highest. And because the level of polo that we have in India is not conducive to 365 days of polo a year. So we have breaks. We have different centers playing polo. And the teams vary depending on the permutation and combination of the game. So it could be a 2 goal game, a 4 goal game, a 6 goal game, an 8 goal game. And an 8 goal game, for example, is the highest combined handicap of every player. And the player's handicap start from -2, being an absolute novice and a new player, to +10, being an absolute professional player.
Okay.
We have different combinations for different teams and players, so we don't have a set format or standard.
Okay. That's interesting. So if you're not constantly playing, walk us through a typical training week when you are playing. What does that look like?
When you're playing polo, it's intense because you need to rest your body as much as possible. It's a very high resistance game where your body gets bruised and broken, and you're literally putting yourself together with either hamstring muscles being torn or shoulder muscles being torn, or fingers being cut up, or joints being pulled out, or whatever. It is a high impact. It's a high resistance sport. Uh, you're training as much as possible. You're running as much as possible. You're trying to keep yourself hydrated as much as possible. You're trying to keep the cardio going because you want to make sure that your stamina is always up to par. You're filling yourself up with carbs. You're loading yourself up with carbs because you need that kind of energy to play that game on that day, especially on the day that it's maybe a final or semi-final, because you're playing for glory. You're playing for blood, and you're actually playing because it's such a glorious game that it's not about the winning or the losing. It's how you play the game. Ultimately, yes, everyone would love to win the game, but you can only have one winner and you can have one runner up. So you do your best to make sure that you play the game to your best ability, and your team's putting their ability as well, and the horse are putting their ability, and the grooms, the back end team, the groundsmen, everyone doing a tremendous job to make sure that this game is safe for you and it's played in a way where it's not just safety for the horses and the player, but safety for the spectators, safety for the groundsmen, safety for everyone as well. It is a high risk sport at the end of the day. So you've got to be very safe, and, you got to make sure everyone's
So, what does nutrition look like for you, especially on match days? What's fuel for you? And what are you strict about your diet?
with the kind of cardio I do, I'm not really strict with my diet. I actually try not to be. I eat anything and everything. I don't have certain restrictions, but I avoid oily food if I can. I eat simple. I don't eat rich, and I keep it as light as possible. So my diet consists of anything that's on the table, anything that's served. I don't have a specific lean diet or high protein diet or a low carb diet. I don't believe in all. As long as I keep.
Home cooked, simple food where you know the ingredients and it's clean.
It doesn't have to be home cooked. As long as it's tasty, I would eat it.
Of course. Okay. All right. So let's talk about horse welfare. What are your non negotiables for your equine partner's health?
Horses come first. That's not negotiable. If the horses are not looked after, there's no point playing the game. You have to love the animals first. You have to make sure that the animals are completely looked after because they look after you on the ground. Their welfare is paramount, their well being is paramount, and to make sure that because they are the actual athletes on the ground. The horses are the actual athletes on the ground. The players are 10% or 15% of the game. The horses are 90% of the game, 85, 90%.
Okay.
And we have to make sure that the horses are really looked after, they're pampered.
Do you visit the horses before or in between matches?
So we actually go and visit the horses before, and we make sure that we are there with the horses after, with the vets as well. So there's a vet check done before, there's a vet check done after. There's stretching exercises given to the horses before, there's stretching exercises given to the horses after. There are cooling pads given to the horses on their legs. The horses are hosed down to make sure the body temperature comes down completely. We preserve the horse in such a way where the game is supposed to be at one chakra, which is supposed to be 7.5 minutes, which can be 4 chakras or 6 chakras in a game. We change 2 horses each chakra. So a horse gets to play about 3.5 minutes per game.
Okay.
And it's changed. So we try to give the horse a break because they're running flat out, they're stopping, they're checking, they're getting impacts from other horses. So we look after the horse in a way where we understand it is very intense on the animals. So we want to make sure we break it down for them, that we don't burden them with too much. But we literally pamper the horses. We're not there to just say, okay, we play polo. We are horse lovers first and players second.
Okay, so you've championed polo culture in Mumbai for years. What's the scene like now?
I don't know if I've actually championed polo in Mumbai, but I've certainly been a part of polo in Mumbai for many, many years. And we're hopeful that polo is going to grow in the country. And it was a gift given by the Indians to the rest of the world. And it was a dying culture at one point in time. With polo now growing, being a heritage sport, we're trying to talk to Incredible India, Maharashtra Tourism, being in Maharashtra. I do believe the Rajasthan side is to open the Rajasthan tourism, the Delhi is to open Delhi tourism, and every center is to open to the tourism industry to make sure that polo revives itself in India and comes back to its glory days that it once was.
So, in terms of where it's heading, you think that we're going to be seeing a lot more of polo?
We've been propagating polo I've been personally propagating polo for many years now. In fact, I've started a company called Turf Games Global Sports to propagate the sport. We're infusing a lot of time, effort. We're trying to promote youngsters. We're trying to promote lady players. We're trying to promote people to come down into the country to play. We're trying to promote spectators to engage themselves and understand the sport. So we got a lot of engagement happening at this point in time. We're trying to promote it to a level where the spectators understand and can be part of the game, where it's not just watching a game, it's the whole persona that you come for high tea, you come for champagne, you come for champagne sabering, you come for divot stomping during the halftime, you mix and mingling with the players, you talk to the players, you take the photo ops with the players, with the horses, you have an after party with the players, you celebrate the players, you celebrate the horses, you try and do a lot. It is being done around the world as well, and we're trying to emulate that and trying to make sure that we set a standard beyond what is already there.
So it's a social sport too, and you're making it welcoming and safe for everybody because, I mean, I think it's something I might like to try at some point too. So, how would I go about it if I wanted to start?
So we are trying to make it more social calendar event every year that mark your calendar. This is going to happen. Turf Games is going to host this game for you, and we're going to give you the best of the best. We're going to give you the best visual in terms of cars, the best cars to come and see. If you want to buy, you're welcome to deal with them. We can give the best alcohol. Come and taste, come and sample, come and try, come and experience the best champagnes, the best cigars. We got Gurkha cigars with us. We got the best Dominican cigars with us, Cuban cigars with us, but the best clothing brands. Not only do we clothe the players, we try to give hampers to all the guests, the best colognes, aftershaves, jewelry, watches. So we've tied up with a lot of brands to make sure that uh, if you're playing, you'll get rewarded. If you're not playing and you come to see the game, you will also get rewarded. Yeah, it's not just the players who get the rewards; it's also the spectators who get. Who's your favorite horse? Who was how many goals were scored in the last chakra? If you can tell me that, you get a ticket to Mexico. So we try to get airlines, hotels. We're doing everything on possible to make sure that we propagate the game.
That sounds very exciting. So, as a commentator, what stories do you want new fans to hear? Is this how you'd like to promote polo as a social sport? Everybody's welcome. Juniors are welcome. Women are welcome. If it's just a day out, and if people want to sort of engage more deeply, then they can.
As a spectator, responsibility is to make sure I connect the game with the audience. It is a heritage sport. We're trying to bring this whole sport back to India. We're trying to make sure that the game that left the Indian shores, the heritage sport of polo that left the Indian shores, a gift to the world, comes back and is a gift for India as well. We're talking to government and governments to give us more polo grounds or give us land so that we can hold these tournaments around the country. In Mumbai, we have the race course at this point in time. In Delhi, they've got the race course as well. At Jaipur, they've got the Rambagh Polo Grounds. In Delhi, they've also got the Mandota Polo Grounds. In Jaipur, they've got Mandota Polo Grounds. In Delhi, they've got the Noida Grounds, Golden Green Grounds. So we're trying to get more grounds to play. The professionals are willing to invest. The players are willing to invest. People are willing to invest and come into the game right now. But it's just that we need more time. We need more infrastructure, and we need to have more participants come in the game. We're trying to get more youth into the game. With that, we start a company to bring e-wheels. So we start e-wheeling polo, and that's going to give a benefit to the youngsters because polo is an expensive sport. The basic infrastructure, you need horses, you need saddles, you need tack, you need sticks, you need whips, you need breeches, you need boots, you need helmets, you need a lot of paraphernalia that goes to even start the game. So even to start the game, you come in with a lot.
Right.
But with an e-wheel, which is just one little wheel, a youngster can take a little mallet, start practicing on the e-wheel, take a ball, start hitting. And as he grows up, learn the rules. Could be a youngster, could be a lady player, could be a boy, could be a girl, could be anyone. But we're trying to promote the sport in India through many other ways as well. In case horses are not available for that point in time, start with the e-wheels. And it doesn't have to be the kids who are doing the e-wheeling. The adults, we're now going to start a league where adults start getting into e-wheeling polo and start playing games, maybe post an actual polo game, before a polo game, use it as a warm-up sport, use it to get your abilities, your core strength, your understanding, your thought process activated. So it's a lot more that's happening behind the scenes that you can actually see them.
Okay. So if a brand is listening out there, what does a meaningful partnership with a sport look like for you?
Any brand that comes and associates themselves with polo is going to get a lot more bang for its buck. Brands with polo can understand that polo has a lot of horsepower to do with, literally and metaphorically. It's a very elite sport. It's a very upmarket sport. It's a very sport that people want to associate. It's an aspirational sport. Let me take out all the other words I've used before. It's an aspirational sport. So brands will see this as an aspirational item that, hey, you know what? If we can get involved with this sport, we can actually reach out to the people who are now, either the yesteryear's Maharajas or the new corporate czars or the people who want to get in this game and connect to the audience that our product is at this level and we can deliver at that level. So it's a very, we want synergy between brands, the sport, the audience, people who are coming into polo, and the entire bandwagon and the paraphernalia that comes with the game. It's a very aspirational game that people want to play. But because of the rules, the regulations, the prohibitive costs, the ground conditions, the non-availability of grounds at times, it becomes difficult to get all the combinations and permutations together. But once it happens, I think brands will understand that this is the sport to be at, and it's something growing. Okay, people, cricket is a religion in India. But for cricket, you just need a bat and a ball, and you can play in any alley, you can play anywhere. But for polo, you have to have a conditioned ground, you have to have manicured lawns, you have to have goalposts, you have to have goal judges, you have to have scoreboards, you have to have players, you have to have horses, you have to paraphernalia with the horses. You have to have a lot to come into the game. But having come into the game, it can give you a lot of benefit as well in terms of recognition, visual branding, and just something that deal with the power of the animal and the man put together.
That's wonderful. Okay, so when you think about legacy beyond scores and medals, what do you want to leave behind?
Difficult question. My son is into polo as well, and he's been playing the national levels at the junior and sub junior level. He's doing very well for himself at this point in time with his colleagues and a few kids who've actually come to polo very hard and very well, and they've actually now taken polo to another level. But what I want to leave behind is a game that can be sustained for generations to come. We're trying to do what we can within the time that we have, where we're hopeful that the government will understand that this is a game that needs protection. It has to be brought forward, and it is a heritage sport, and that's something that gives India its wealth and its meaning that it has as well. So if we can talk to people and reach out to people to say, listen, this is a sport that is going to grow with your help, and it should be something that we can take forward. That'll be something that I'd like to see eventually.
Amazing. And what's next for you as a rider, as a voice for the game, and as an architect shaping spaces? Where are you headed next?
So at this point in time, I'm designing a lot of polo grounds for and stables and a lot of riding infrastructure for a lot of my friends who are getting to either breeding or they want to expand their polo ground or they want to put up clubhouses. So I'm designing a lot of spaces for them as an architect. I also have a plan to put up a polo ground for myself um, somewhere just outside Bombay, but that's going to be a personal polo ground, maybe just an arena polo area, just for friends and people who are like-minded who want to play. Off season,
I can come there and learn too, perhaps.
oh, it'll be a pleasure to have you there, Monisha. I mean, we'd love to have you there. I mean, we've been talking about polo for so long that we haven't moved this matter, but we'd love to have you out there as well one day, and we will make it happen. But so this point in time, architecture is going towards helping friends put up their infrastructure. We're putting up our own infrastructure as well, but let's see where the game goes in the future. We're trying to do as much as possible. So we're doing something in Delhi at this point in time, putting up a clubhouse and a polo ground in Delhi. Or we're doing some work in Jaipur. We're doing some work in Kalote. We're doing some work in Kaship. And we're also doing some work in Pune, near Pune. So we're hopeful that this will make a difference and try and grow the sport for the game.
I'm very excited. I'm looking forward to all of that. Okay, so we're going to move on to one of my favorite sections, a quick fire round. What is your favorite polo pony that you've ever ridden?
I would have to say Fly. She was my favorite. She was quick, nimble, a little big gelding, and she's no more, unfortunately, but she was a fabulous. She was more human than horse. She was lovely.
One pre-match song that flips the switch for you.
Eye of the Tiger. Always rocky. Always pumps up your adrenaline.
Absolutely. For skill riders undertrain.
They need to warm up, warm up, warm up. That's it. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Yoga, yoga, yoga. Warm up, warm up, warm up. That's all you need to do. And cool down.
Down and recover.
Eat well, sleep well, warm up, recover. Think, study for the younger ones.
Okay. One belief you let go of after the fall that you had.
You're going to have many more. You're going to have many more. So don't hold on to the one you had because you're going to have many more and you're going to take it in your stride. It's part and parcel of the game. It's part and parcel of who you are. It builds character. It adds to the beauty on your face or your body wherever you have those wounds. So it's okay.
And I guess it makes you stronger, right? And it gives you more endurance.
What doesn't break you will build you. Yes.
Wonderful. And a Mumbai spot that always resets you. Home. Lovely. Love it.
Right now I'm at home and this always resets me.
That's wonderful. Riyadh, thank you for sharing your story and your perspective.
Monisha, thank you very much for this opportunity. Like I said, this is my first podcast. I am nervous. I'm not sure if I've answered the queries and questions the way I should have, but I've done my best to give you the best explanation I possibly could.
I think you've done brilliantly. Thank you.
Thank you, Manisha.
And thank you to everyone listening and for spending this time with us. Until next time, look after your body, center your focus, and honor your mind. If this conversation resonated, follow and subscribe so that you never miss a conversation that matters. This episode was brought to you by Nutrition Band, meal plans, programs, and recipes designed to help you eat well and live better. You can find all the links in the show notes.